Amy, thanks so much for coming in from South Africa. I'm not clear, it's not clear to me what exactly the U.S.'s objection is with the Green Climate Fund now. I mean, obviously, Saudi Arabia doesn't want to lose the incredible profits from oil, but what is the U.S.'s objection to a $100 billion fund?
Well, I mean, this is the critical question, especially because it was proposed by Hillary Clinton. I remember sitting in Copenhagen when the Secretary of State came to the Climate Accord conference then to make this proposal that by 2020, a $100 billion green climate fund. But now they're tinkering around the edges, and they are raising questions about any amount of money being committed. And this is of grave concern to environmental groups. You know, this is President Obama's constituency in the United States, and once again we're seeing, especially in this year as we move into the presidential elections, that his base constituency that was so excited when he came into office, when they elected him, feel that they have been abandoned. Not just saying you can work harder, but that you have moved from being the person with the greatest vision on these issues, they are saying, to being perhaps the greatest obstacle to an accord around dealing with climate change. It's the very question they're asking. And I mean, the company that the United States is keeping, Saudi Arabia, you really have to ask what the U.S. is doing right now.
Amy, but isn't part of the issue, I mean, we're right now, we're going to talk in the next hour about the fact that they cannot get a payroll tax cut through Congress, or they're struggling to get a payroll tax cut. The notion that a Republican House would pass money for a climate fund for developing nations to deal with the effects of climate change, which by and large they do not agree with, seems to me completely preposterous. I mean, isn't the problem fundamentally that there's just no way this administration could ever get the money from this current Congress for something like this?
Well, I mean, it's very interesting to look at the various presidential candidates, particularly the frontrunners, Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney, and how they have flip-flopped around the issue of climate change. You have famously Newt Gingrich sitting in a love seat with Nancy Pelosi talking about the problems of climate change. I was just looking at a video of Gingrich and Senator Kerry standing together, and Gingrich talking about how serious climate change is and that a new green conservatism must be developed. And now in the last days you have him saying, we don't know that humans have anything to do with climate change. We don't know what causes climate change. And the same thing with Mitt Romney when he was governor of Massachusetts, boasting about instituting regulations that were the strictest around greenhouse gas emissions, something to be very proud of. And now saying in the last few days, we really don't know the causes of climate change. So you have that part of the spectrum, the Republicans, and you have Obama saying, yes, we have to face the facts, we have to look at science, and then he is obstructing on all of these issues. I don't agree with you, Chris. I think that political capital, expending political capital and tapping into people's concerns about what's happening in the country, especially now with the Occupy movement, people understanding that corporate control of their lives is hurting them, that President Obama could address the American people and saying, this is an extremely serious issue that we must all contend with, that is hurting all of us around the country. I mean, New York just had a freak snowstorm, one of 4 snowstorms, I think, in the last 130 years in October. We are all dealing with this, and the number of lives lost around the world, it's extremely serious, and it's serious for people in Missouri, it's serious for people in Vermont. We know what freak weather is about. So if we're talking about saving money, I think there's a lot of legislation that could pass through Congress if President Obama got on board with the rest of the world.
Amy Goodman is the host of Democracy Now! She's live in Durban, South Africa, covering the international climate talks. Amy, I've been a big fan of yours for a while.